Her, you just didn't
I'm not butthurt because of that. I'm butthurt.
You didn't make the cut for the thumbnail.
You don't like the fact that I have a different opinion.
No, you didn't make the cut for the thumbnail. It's just how it is.
It's from you.
Many girls don't make the thumbnail.
And you do that a lot on your podcast. Because if I was okay, keep with him, he wouldn't have a problem.
Go ahead, let people talk. You let you talk with him.
And I let him talk. The whole time he spoke. And y'all want to dick about him because y'all his people. I'm not moving.
Chat, we live. We do a live. Put it on one, Steve.
Niggas going to the cops.
No, it's not.
I didn't offend nobody. I didn't put my hands on nobody. I didn't threaten nobody to be on.
Steve, no. Do what you do. Yeah.
I don't care. He but we know his
hey, it is what it is. Nah, I'm good, mama. I'm good, mama. Don't touch me, mama. I'm good, mama. Don't touch me.
Nah, come on, man.
Step out.
Respectfully.
Step out. Step out. Get up out of here. Y'all saying that, right? Keep on the drink. It's all good. We do it live, chat. We do it live. Both of y'all. It's all. No. I'm fine. Listen, listen, you're trash. That's what it is. You're trash. Throw on camera one.
Hey guys, welcome to Little Black But Another One. It's your favorite dating and relationship coach here as well. Listen, let me just tell you about this situation. There was a podcast by Fugazi podcast, and I'll be honest with you, I've seen a lot of stuff that he's done. He makes some really good points actually a lot of times as well. This young lady, obviously, yes, the correct word is assaulted him, threw a drink in his face, and headed off out of the studio. This for me is giving Fresh and Fit all over again, right? And I titled this video obviously Gender Wars and Black Men Gotta Take Accountability, because this is that typical gender wars nonsense that we kept doing a couple of years ago, right? And we're back at it again with Fugazi podcast. My thing is this: I believe that men are called to be leaders. Okay, I believe that we are able to set the tone and set the precedents and the atmosphere for how we want people to behave. Now, we can't control everybody, right? This young lady here came up with a chip on her shoulder. She was angry. She was pissed off. And, she was hurt by what was said, right? And I get tired of these particular videos because the reason why is because you invite, quote unquote, to be respectful, bird brains on there. Why? And expect there not to be bird brain behavior. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like these podcasts show a biased viewpoint all the time because they choose bird brains and expect non-bird brain behavior. Or better yet, they expect the bird brain behavior because they're trying to make money. So a lot of this is not authentic, and it's not really in alignment with our community because most of us are not acting this way. But you end up choosing bird brains and then having conversations about you choose Pookies and Ray Rays all the time. And the reality of the situation is, why do you sit around with bird brains all day talking? Right? Because you're a bird brain too. Right? What is it? How can a man be wise when he walks with fools? You understand what I'm saying to you? A foolish man walks with other foolish people. So when you became a podcast, Fresh and Fit did it, right? Kevin Samuels did it. Okay, Fugazi's doing it, right? You're dealing with bird brains, all right? And the more you sit with bird brains, the more you become one. Because clearly this is the bird brain behavior, right? So I'm not giving her a pass for doing what she did, but I'm going to be honest again. It's a failure of leadership. And I'm kind of tired of it. Like, do you know what I'm saying to you? I'm tired of this kind of content, of men putting this kind of content out, because it is a failure of your leadership, right? You begin a podcast, you want to talk about relationship dynamics, and then you choose people who are quote unquote bird brains, ratchet, ghetto, all the names you want to use, whatever, disrespectful, You choose all these people and expect there to be elevation. How would it be? How about you create content that would actually elevate, then actually other people will come in and be elevated, right? How about elevating the content so the people that follow you also have to elevate, right? Why not? Because at the end of the day, all we're doing is building more of a space for bird brains to have more platforms to talk more bird brain stuff, right? You see, I look at the Bible and the way it describes us as men and what our roles are, okay? All right? That as men, right, we are called to cultivate. We're called to cultivate. And this is a really important point for me. Let me take this off screen so you can actually talk about this, right? As men, I believe we are called to cultivate our community and our friendships and the people around us and women that you're going to be encountering. Okay, you are called to cultivate. Men are called to be the head and women called to be the body. I think this is a great example of what I mean by cultivate. The body responds to whatever you put inside of it, right? It's a reason why I have only certain people on this platform. It's because I don't need bird brain activity because I'm not a bird brain myself. See, if I can sit through bird brain activity, I'm probably a bird brain myself. And that's the problem. See, the problem I have with this leadership is that they think they're above these women. No, you keep having podcasts with these type of women, you are just like them. Because birds of a flock fly together, right? And so whenever we're doing these podcasts and showing us the leadership that you have, it's all well and good to drop the dimes and the wisdom and all them kind of things, but you only invite bird brains. Fresh and Fit did it. You don't invite women that are astute and have a mindset and are educated and know themselves and know how to articulate themselves. You don't bring those people on. You don't bring the man them that can actually talk some sense into a situation, have a real conversation, and actually elevate your perspective and actually maybe challenge a thought process. You don't invite those people on. You invite bird brains, right? Bird brains. And so what ends up happening is, as someone said, low vibration, is that low vibrational conversation begets low vibrations. And then we're wondering why low vibration is a result. Well, you didn't elevate the perspective, and so for me, it just gets boring. It's like I'm not really learning here. Okay, and so yes, you're right, Dorika. It is a part of the brainwashing, right? It's part of the biased viewpoint to prove a point that women are like this, or women are like this, and I'm like, well, why do you keep spending time with those women? Why is it that you can only get women like that? Why is it that I can have a platform and have intellectual conversation with women that are sensible and you can't? It tells me where you are at, right? If you can only draw in those kind of women and draw in those kind of men who don't think, who are not conscious, who are not using their mind and becoming as bird brain as a woman that you keep inviting onto that platform, then it tells me if I need to know that the leadership is also of a bird brain nature. Because the followers are taking a direction and a leadership from the leader, right? If the followers are bird brains, it's because the leadership is bird brain. It's a culture you have promoted. It's your podcast. It's no one else's. And this is what I'm talking about when I say about leadership for us as men, is that you can change your community and you can change your culture and you can change the people around you simply by being the change you want to see. Now, someone might come out and he might say, "Listen, it's all for entertainment." And I would say, "Look, I don't think it's for entertainment. I think that's how you really are. I think that's how you really roll." You know what I'm saying to you? I think that's how you really roll. You know what I mean? Right? Because you do what you are. You often do what you are. You actually practice what you actually are. So it naturally comes out, right? I couldn't do this podcast where I'm with bird brains. I just can't. I can't do podcasts with people that are bird brains. I will be unfulfilled and I will be unstimulated. So I can't do a podcast full of man or women who are bird brains. It takes a lot out of me. I can do one, once in a while. Do you know what I'm saying to you? I can do once in a while, but I can't do a consistent podcast of conversations. I can't even do human beings on a consistent basis who got bird brains. It's unfulfilling, unstimulating. It's giving mental deficiency. So it's not working for me. And I'm not trying to say that in the most arrogant way. It's to say that why isn't your content elevating, but your content really feels like it's just a part of the culture to try and produce, again, this narrative, this skewed narrative to paint, especially women specifically, in a particular light. And all it does is it exposes you. Let's go back to the video. Okay, I want to play a little bit of the clip going backwards, right? because she's also to blame. She's got some accountability. But let's just go back to where it all started.
Truly genuine confidence because you accomplish some things, you got options. When you got options, time out, you have an abundance mindset. When you have the abundance mindset and it's actually not narcissistic, you know what a true narcissist is?
Yes.
A narcissist is someone that acts like they accomplished goals, but they really didn't accomplish anything. Their confidence is fake. It isn't pure. So when a man truly accomplished things and his confidence is pure, he got options because other chicks want him. Other chicks see him. He got this aura that just comes off of him. And guess what he has? He has the ability to be intolerant of females' inadequacies. So he's not going to tolerate certain things from women. You know why? Because he understands his value. I'm telling her that her man doesn't understand his value because he don't even know his own baseline. He don't know his chick baseline that she giving it up to other people. He don't understand his value.
Because it's a female that he doesn't understand. Okay, let's go back to the narcissist, right? Because a narcissist falls under an umbrella, right? You have many traits of a narcissist, right?
How
what you're saying right now can be very narcissistic to a lot of people because there are people who are mentally abused. There are people who are mentally, physically abused, emotionally abused. So abuse comes in different forms, just like a narcissist comes in different forms. So you can't sit here and say because a man wants you to stay to him and only him while he's out doing him. A lot of y'all men don't stay. A lot of y'all are not faithful. Y'all don't play that monogamous shit.
Yeah, you're just moving the goalposts
when we talk about when we talking about a man in a man's position, we got to talk about a faithful man, a man that's standing on 10 toes, a man that know his business, a man that's going to sit there and hold down his female no matter what.
Yeah,
no matter when it comes to, no matter if you go broke, you're never going to change on her. You understand what I'm saying? That's a real man.
Well,
my dad is a hold on.
Most men, when they
remember we had them rules in the beginning, right? My dad is a real.
And this is where you always find yourself in trouble, right? Because they both were making good points. I understood what she was saying. I understood what he was saying, right? I kind of sided more of him. If I'm honest with you, I understand more of him. Okay, but I would say that obviously in the situation with this situation here, they were both making good points, right? The problem is that when you make a rule as a leader, you actually have to obey your rules. You can't be above the law. And I found like sometimes these podcasts, they do create that environment where they're above the law. For instance, and I get it. Listen, as a person who's creating a conversation, you get to have your say. You get to tell people, listen, hey, your time is up, right? I totally understand that. But what he was doing was that he was actually cutting across her. Now, he was actually right. He was winning for me, he was winning the battle. Like he was winning the argument because what he was saying was making sense. And what she was saying wasn't really making sense. But the problem is that as a leader, you cannot do things contrary, right, to what you want to see other people do, right? In business, we call it show and tell. Okay, let me just take that up again. In business, we call this show them, don't tell them. When you tell people things, they will hear you, but they might not follow through. But when you show them, they now know. And so when you are a leader, and I believe men are called to be leaders in their community, right, we have to show and tell. So you have to show people how you want them to behave. So if I'm cutting across you while you're talking, right, I'm actually showing you that I don't respect you. And therefore, when you do it to me, right, how am I going to complain? How am I going to be annoyed when you cut across me? I can't be annoyed when you cut across me because I've done the exact same thing to you. So I think the really important part here is that as a leader, I'm saying that we got to lead by example when we are dealing with the other party to show them this is what I expect from you. Right? This is what I expect from you. My behavior shows you what I expect from you. But instead, it becomes a power play. A lot of times when I see these podcasts, it becomes a power play. It's like, it's my podcast. I can do whatever I want. Well, if you can do whatever you want and you can do whatever you want, then it's no longer a safe space because the rules are meant to be above you. Right? You're doing the exact same thing that you see people in the world who have power do to you. And in fact, this is what Jesus says. He says, you guys glorify the rich, but they lord it over you and they behave anyhow towards you. And now we're doing these podcasts, we're seeing the exact same thing that certain man them, and there are certain women too, I'm sure they have their own podcasts who do the exact same thing, who are making up their own rules to have their own castle. And in the situation, what ends up happening is that as they're having their own castle, they're making up these rules that they're not even obeying themselves. Right? It's important to obey your own rules. That's what I'm going to say.
Man, and he lives by that haram that you speak of. You understand? Muslim since the day I was born. My middle name is Sauda. Black is beautiful. You understand what I'm saying? That's what I mean. That's what I stand for. Black is beautiful, baby. You understand? So when you speak of a real man, you're speaking of my father. That's a real man.
So why don't you date a man like your father?
Oh, I'm looking for a man like my daddy. I'm looking for a man like my daddy. But
it's
really not that many. It's really not that many.
Your father is a real man.
Yes. Character, right?
Yeah, but you just admitted. Time out.
A man
Pause,
doesn't,
stop,
because
rewind. Let's bring it back.
Who you claim to be makes
real
you
quick.
a real man. A real man is what you stand by and what you live by every single
Real
day.
quick, real quick.
My father is a man that wakes up and he's peaceful. He prays for me. He sends me good energy.
I got it, Nay.
That's
I got
a
it,
man.
Nay. Calm down.
Not
Listen.
a man that's gonna sit here and tell a female you can't have a male friend.
I got you, Nay.
I'm too little
I got
for you
you.
to have something
Let's bring
so
it
big.
back. Let's bring it back.
Let's
One
bring
mic
it back.
at a time.
Bring it forward,
And
also,
also,
baby, I'm ready for
real
you.
quick, Nay, when you speaking and not cut you off, I'm the host. You got to stop talking. We're not gonna go on these long
I'm not gonna
rants.
stop talking because
And see right there, that becomes a power display, right? And that right there is exactly what I'm really talking about. See that right there? When the host cuts you off, you got to stop talking. Why are you doing that? You're meant to be having a conversation. Now she's actually lost it. She's actually going down the wrong hill. He asked a really good question. He actually could. And again, this is why I'd say that, power sometimes gets to us as men, and not just men, but women too. But these podcasts can get to people's heads, right? Because you actually had her. You had her in the palm of your hands. If you had let her finish, you would have been able to finish her properly. Honestly, you would have been able to, right? But the reality situation was, right, you had the answer and you wanted to, and I've been here before. You guys have seen me. I've done my mistakes as well. You want to jump in there quickly because you like, I've got the answer. I want to jump in there quickly. But the reality of the situation is, if you let that person land, you're going to get a more productive conversation, right? If you let that person land, you're going to get a more productive conversation from that person, as well as actually fostering an understanding. But I don't think they're going for understanding here. They're going for wins. So that's why the conversation is swinging in the way it is. It's because it's not fostering understanding. It's going for a win. And, she was definitely frustrated. And I think she was carrying her own chip on her shoulder. I think because maybe she felt like, he doesn't listen to women, and she felt like she could be the avenger that would correct him. But she didn't realize that by coming in there to try and be an avenger to correct him, it's his platform. He can do whatever he wants. I don't agree with it, but he can. So you coming in to correct him was a first mistake in the first place, because you're trying to correct him on his own platform thing. It ain't going to go down very well, right? So that was an important thing. Malcolm X said, when was she going to land? Whenever she landed. Would you want to be cut off if you were talking? Right? If you were explaining something and you were talking, would you want to be cut off? You guys see me every single time I do an interview. You see me wait for time, because what I'm doing is I don't want you to cut me off. I don't like being cut off. That's what I'm saying to you. If I'm trying to foster understanding and I want to be understood, I'm going to give you a mic and I'm going to give you a platform and I'm going to give you room to say your piece. So I don't cut you off because I don't want to have that feeling for me either. I want to be heard, and I'm sure you want to be heard. So I let you talk. And sometimes it can be a little bit longer than most people, and that's okay. We have to exercise that patience, right? So that people can actually feel understood and heard. You know what I'm saying to you, right? And the host didn't keep it on track. That's the problem. If the host was keeping it on track, it would have never got to the place it got to. When we tried to do power grabs, that's the issue. See, as a man, when we're leading things, we can either elevate a situation or we can cool it. Right? We can elevate it or cool it. And when it elevated, it's when he started to try to show, when I'm talking, don't talk. And it's like, at that point, he tried to lay the law down. And at that point, he's trying to show who the Ogad is. And at that point, when you do that, we're not going to foster no understanding. We heap hot coals on the heads of our enemies when we show them love. You know what I'm saying to you?
Because you're the host. Because when you speak, I give
time out. If you're not gonna, it's very simple, Nate. If you're not going to,
so we're gonna sit here. We're gonna debate on tape, baby. I'm
fair enough. Baby. That's what you think. These are the rules of the podcast, and all the girls heard.
So only the host could speak when everyone else is talking.
Listen, you still speaking over me.
Okay, I'm just asking.
When I'm speaking,
clarification,
and you going on these long rants, I already understand.
You want to cut me off when you don't like.
And that's the problem with him. See, he doesn't realize that and this is why I said that you expose yourself as well. Like these, like I said, when you deal with bird brains, you expose your bird brain too, right? He said, when you go on a long rant, I already got what you're saying. Have you? Because if you did, you wouldn't be cutting her off. You just let her finish the point. Since you've already got it, right? Since you've already got it, let her land. This is what's important. Like, you got to know how, and And look, what we're doing on these podcasts are the same thing that we'll probably do in a relationship. What we're doing on these podcasts is the same thing that both her and him will do in a relationship, right? Because there's two people doing it, right? What we're seeing on this podcast is exactly what we'll see on both the podcast and you'll see in relationships. Because what is happening right now is showing us that there is a lack of respect on either side. Brain apocalypse, absolutely.
Like,
Wait, time out. You still speaking while I'm speaking?
I am.
Got it. Slow it down. Right. So when I'm speaking, stop speaking.
All right,
if you continue,
you stop speaking.
That isn't how it goes.
That's how it goes on my book.
Okay.
When I signed up to come here, and I signed up for me to be on this video,
cool,
that's what I signed up for. I didn't sign up to be disrespected. And that's why you don't like men on your podcast. Let's talk about it.
No, I explained that in the beginning.
No, because you want to disrespect women.
Who did I disrespect?
Now, at this point, she thought she had a little get going up, and I needed her to slow it down because she was doing a little bit too much at this point too, right? So she was doing a little bit too much of this as well, right? Because at this point, she thought she was checking him, and that's the biggest issue. She wanted to check him, right? It was not. Now it was for her. It was never about being understood at this point, right? At this point, she doesn't want to be understood. She wants to check him. So at this point, now we've got two people who are not having a productive conversation because it's not about, at this point, fostering understanding. It's about, I'm going to check you. Right? Like, she's like, oh, let me let you know what men are on this podcast. Now, she's got a point, what men are on this podcast. But the reality of the situation is that comment was said in a way of checking him.
Let's talk about it. You want to belittle people. And I'm the one to belittle you first.
He didn't belittle you.
Who did I belittle today?
Now, listen to what she said. You're the one to belittle people, but I'm going to belittle you first. Well, baby, then you're in the same boat as him. You can't ask him to behave better and want him to do better, and you're not going to do better. You can't do that. Right? Young lady, you can't do that. And that tells me everything else I need to know as well, right? That we're willing to fight fire with fire. Right? And in a relationship, this ain't gonna work. Fighting fire with fire. Right? This is why I said there's a bird brain behavior, right? Because what ends up happening is go. That's all you're gonna hear. It's and we're not gonna hear nothing really truly what needs to come out of your mouth because all of it is just an attack on each other, right? She made a mistake trying to correct him, trying to set pace with him, and say, let's talk about it. You know, trying to almost school him. That ain't never gonna get a productive conversation going. So now, if you end up at the end throwing a drink in his face, I'm asking the question: how come you got so triggered when you were set to try and show him levels that you end up throwing a drink? That's a lack of emotional regulation.
He didn't disrespect
no, I'm just saying. I watch a lot of your podcasts. I'm just saying. I'm not very emotional at all. You don't see any tears.
I mean, well, it seems like you're being emotional.
Make you feel good, baby. And I'm.
I got you. So,
y'all got my veneers?
Nay, here's how it's gonna go. I got you. Here's how it's gonna go. Right when I'm speaking, now this is gonna be a little bit disrespectful because you've been disrespectful. When I'm speaking, shut up. That's totally fine.
All right, when I'm speaking, the same shit. Shut up.
Got it. You just admitted that.
Don't invite nobody on your podcast.
You just admitted that you're.
See, at this point now he's triggered. See, when he has to go to a point where he has to tell her to shut up, he's also triggered. Like, man be thinking that because they're cool and they're not screaming, they're not triggered. You're triggered, right? So both of these people are now triggered. This is what I'm trying to say. Like, now both of us are triggered, right? We're now both triggered. So now it's an unproductive conversation because we're both triggered, right? She's like, you can't tell me nothing. He's like, I'm going to tell you to shut up, right? I'm going to tell you to shut up. And because now she's become unruly, he has to set pace with her now, right? Political. It's a shame, really.
Man ain't that man that your father is that man.
No, he is that man.
No, your man isn't that man. You just admitted that.
I don't have to cheat with him to go with other men. A female is different.
You let other people, other human beings explore your sexuality.
If you can't handle
and it's
that,
not only for your man.
That's on you. You can't handle that.
You sound crazy right now. No, not at all.
I feel sorry for whoever you date because baby, I could never be trusted.
We actually gonna end this. You up out of here. It's time for you to go.
I ain't going nowhere.
Pass to the rules.
For the people.
Steve, you can go ahead and do what you do best.
Do what you do best.
See, so now he gonna make her up and leave. You know, he wants her to up and leave because That's the power play, right? Now, of course, she's also not adhering to the rules, so she gotta go. I'm not mad at the fact she gotta go, right? Because, like he said, you gotta adhere to the rules, right? The rules are when he's talking, you can't talk, right? And so, in reality, I get why he's also executing the castle rules, right? We've seen this on Fresh and Fit. It happens a lot. And the reality of the situation is you're dealing with bird brains, you become a bird brain, and then you do bird brain activity. Because now you're going to have to try and set the pace by saying, let's get her out of here. It's a power play. And like I said, this is not how you can behave in a relationship. You cannot veto your partner out of the relationship and be like, you're out of here now. You're going to have to learn how to de-escalate and learn how to communicate. And that's why the skills that you do on a podcast are very much the same skills you're going to have in a relationship, right? And it's bird brain activity from both of you. Don't you realize? Right? Just because you got men in the chat being excited for you does not mean it's not bird brain activity from the both of you. You were triggered enough to tell her to shut up, and she was triggered enough to be able to tell you that she couldn't even tell you some logic about her situation, and the fact that she also too was trying to run you down too, right? We're both triggered.
I call the people.
Yes, call the boys. Yeah, call the boys. She don't want to leave.
Hold on.
Time for you to go.
Whatever clips you want.
I mean,
No, he's
we live.
He's really gonna call the police.
I don't care.
Go ahead, Steve.
No,
Yeah, go ahead. Right now.
I don't care. And we gonna walk out of here the same way.
We've had this before. We've had to call the cops before.
Yeah, and they're right up the
Okay.
street. Yeah, they come right.
Now, why is she deciding to be somewhere where they don't want her to be? Babe, what are you doing? No, darling, what are you actually doing? What are we actually doing? Why? He told you, listen, it's time to leave, and you're still there. Why? Why do you want to stay? Why do you want to be somewhere that you're not wanted and are not going to be valued? Right? You're trying to prove a point to him too that you can do whatever you want to do. Right? And that's what I'm saying. It's bird brain activity again. We're trying to prove something that you can't shift me and you can't move me. Sis, he doesn't want you on his podcast no more. Get up and go. Why would you want to be there? True, she doesn't respect the leadership. You're absolutely right. Doesn't respect the leadership. She has a total disregard and disrespect. Absolutely right. She has total disregard and total disrespect. And the reality of the situation is, sis, you don't need to be there. Go. Leave. You know what I'm saying to you? He's belittling you and saying things to you, then get up and go. Why are we still there? Because you're trying to fight fire. You're trying to come at him like almost like a man would come at another man. That is not the way to go.
Oh my God! Come on, y'all.
I don't pay taxes in PA, so you can call the cops if you want. I don't pay taxes.
No.
He want to be disrespectful because I have an opinion that doesn't align with his.
Steve, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
That's not the only reason why, sis. You were starting to get triggered too. He's getting triggered, you getting triggered, and unfortunately, it's his show. He can tell you to get the heck out. You know?
No, okay, come on. No.
I see you do this a lot on his podcast.
He never disrespected you.
And my dad, I didn't call him either. Right? I didn't look for the same respect he gave me. Am I being disrespectful?
Steve.
No, I spoke what I spoke.
I understand that, but come on.
I spoke what I spoke.
We don't gotta do that. Like,
Don't
come
want to
on.
make one Steve before.
So you can cancel the whole podcast because we both out.
No,
Respectfully.
totally fine.
Because if you don't want to hear what I got to say, then I can leave. But that was your
You out
thing.
here,
Because
Mom.
you did that.
Now she keeps on talking. Let me tell you why she keeps on talking. She keeps on talking because she actually wants to be understood and heard. Do you see how unproductive this conversation is? Right? You actually want to be seen and heard. So you're still talking. Right? You're still mouthing off. And all you wanted to do was be seen and heard. A lot of times in relationships, what people end up doing is that actually in the relationship, they do a counterproductive action to actually what they want. You want to be seen, you want to be heard, you want more closeness, you want more intimacy, but then you find yourself in an argument with your partner rather than explaining how you actually feel. You find yourself criticizing your partner rather than actually just having a conversation about how you actually want them to be closer to you, right? We end up in these stupid little discussions in a relationship, whatever, or in fights, or whatever, in a relationship, when really and truly all we need to do is have a discussion about how we actually feel. You wanted to be heard, sis. That's why you're still going now, right? You wanted to be heard. You wanted him to hear your point of view and validate it. And yet we are at the point of being kicked out of the room.
from the beginning when you didn't even put me in a clip and anything.
Oh, that's why you butthurt? You just didn't make the cut
because of that. I'm butthurt.
You didn't make the cut for the thumbnail.
You don't like the fact that I have a different opinion.
No, you didn't make the cut for the thumbnail. It's just how it is.
It's from you.
Many girls don't make
you
the
do that a
thumbnail.
lot on your podcast because if I was okay, keep with him, he wouldn't have a problem.
Go ahead,
let people talk. You let you talk with him.
And I let him talk. The whole time he spoke. And
Leave
y'all
him
think about him
alone.
because y'all his people. I'm not moving.
Chat, we live. We do live.
Now her friends are trying to tell her, listen, you got to move, Nay. Nay don't want to hear nothing. Okay? Nay doesn't want to hear nothing. Okay? And at this point, she doesn't realize she's actually starting to become aggressive, right? In fact, she's become aggressive a long time ago, but she's been aggressive. And now, as you guys have said, becoming confrontational. And now she doesn't want to be moved. And your friends are telling you, get up, let's go. Let's get out of the situation. She doesn't want to do that, right? She now has to prove a point through her ego that she cannot be moved. Now, the problem with this situation is this, sis, right? You know who to do this to because you know you're not going to do this to everybody. Number two, what does this prove? What does it prove that you sit there and you have to be there? What, you want to test his mettle? You want to test the fact that whether he will put you out or not? Listen, if they call the police, it's a waste of your time, a waste of police time, right? And you're in trouble for no reason, right? It's dumb. Just leave the room. But you don't want to because you want to prove a point, which means now it's no longer about anything else apart from your ego. There was a great opportunity to be heard, and she didn't.
Hey, put it on one, Steve.
Nigga, call the cops.
No, it's not.
I didn't offend nobody. I didn't put my hands on nobody. I didn't threaten nobody.
So listen to what she said. I didn't threaten nobody, and I didn't put no hands on nobody. Not yet, anyway.
I got shit.
Steve, no, go do what you do. Yeah.
I don't care. He but we know it's
Hey, it is what it is. Nah, I'm good, mama. I'm good, mama. Don't touch me, mama. I'm good, mama. Don't touch me.
Second of all, she actually broke boundaries, and also technically she touched him when he didn't want to be touched. Sis, what are you doing? Right? It's abusive behavior. What are you doing? Okay. So the reality of the situation is, sis, you're actually causing more issues here. Right? He said he didn't want to be touched. You still wanted to dap him up. Why? Why? He doesn't want to be touched. He does not want a handshake, does not want to touch your hand. So what are you doing? Why are you forcing it? Why are you forcing it, sis? Right? This tells me again that you're not in tune with what's actually happening around the room. And actually, it's abusive, right? Because we've gone from the aggressive behavior to now you wanna actually break somebody's boundaries, physical boundaries, where they're like, don't touch me, and you're still trying to grab his hand to dap him. He doesn't want to. Absolutely, she's trying to prove what she can do, what she wants.
Nice meeting you.
Nay, come on, man.
Step out.
Respectfully.
Be a little bitch.
Step out. Step out. Get up out of here.
Wait.
Y'all seen that?
Now, the point about this situation here is this. How you going to slide on a brother, throw a drink in his face, and then run off? Why don't you stand there and see what happens? Why is it this time round you decided to throw the drink and run off? You've had it in your heart to do this for a very long time. You've had malice in your heart for too long, sis. I can be honest with you. You've had malice in your heart way too long. Yeah. You've had malice in your heart too long. And you need to check that, because that situation, it might be this guy today, it will be your man tomorrow. Right? You know what I'm saying to you? Like, that was assault, what you just did there, sis. There was no need for it. All you have to do was get out. But why is it when you threw the drink, you ran? Right? That's the point Elle said. She did. She came to, that's the reason why she came there. She didn't come there for nothing else. She had an agenda. She didn't come in there to have a valuable conversation. She had an agenda. She had an agenda.
Keep on with the drink. It's all good. We do it live, chat. We do it live. Both of y'all. It's all no. I'm fine. Listen, listen. You're trash. That's what it is. You're trash. Throw on camera one. Hey, chat. We do it live. She threw a drink on a homie. It is what it is. It's all good.
Oh my God.
I got another. We do it live, chat. Yo, she was mad.
I felt like everything
she was
good,
mad
but
that she
throwing the
had a
drink, it
weak
was
dude,
a
and
little
her
too
dude
much.
doesn't understand his value, and her dude allows her to get railed by other men.
Women.
It's stupid, isn't it? Stupid, really. Yeah, it's stupid. It's crazy stuff that's happening, and I just it's silly stuff, man. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's silly, really, really, really silly stuff. And again, it's very funny because, of course, this behavior would have come out anyway. But it's very funny because these podcasts do the exact same thing that reality TV does. These podcasts do the exact same thing reality does. They put alcohol in front of these people, get them a little bit tipsy, a little bit drunk, and then we see the stupid behavior come out. Again, like I said, where is the leadership? Because bird brain activity with bird brain leadership is always a problem, right? Bird brain activity with bird brain leadership. Because why are we supplying people alcohol? And again, this is what I'm trying to say to you. Because sober minds can reason intellectually. But why is it that people need to be able to be drunk or tipsy to have a genuinely good conversation? Why? This is stupid. You know what I mean? Dion said, listen, if a man did this, they would say he hates women. If a woman does it, that's a fair point. I'm not going to be mad at you, bro. I'm not going to be mad at you. I won't be mad at what you said. You know what I'm saying to you? I think there's a big, very, very big father wound that she has. I think as much as she bigs up her dad, I think there's a very big father wound or mother wound that she probably as well could be. That is the reason why she's displaying this kind of behaviors. But I definitely hear you on the men situation too. If men did it, will be like he hates women. I hear it. You're probably right. You know what I'm saying to you? That was disgraceful. That's what I'm saying to you. What she did. Yeah, it was distasteful. But it showed again that it exposed her more than it exposed him. That she can't handle those situations like that. She can't handle tough emotions. Yeah, that was just political. It's sad, man. You know what I mean? But anyway, listen, guys, I gotta go. My time is up, and I will definitely come back on probably tomorrow for you guys as well. I think we can definitely talk about some things. So, but we'll see you guys again tomorrow. This crazy situation, you know what I mean? It's too much. That's too much. If you haven't done so already, we're gonna have more great conversations like this as well. It's called No Fugazi, by the way, the podcast. We're gonna have more great conversations like this offline on our 100 Club. So make sure you join us if you haven't done so already. Sign up for the 100 Club on the 5th of September. If you haven't done so already, join the 100 Club. You know what I'm saying to you? We're gonna have more conversations like this as well. Okay, all right. And we're gonna appreciate you guys. Stay locked, stay loaded. We'll see you again very soon. Much love. Crazy in